PTSD. No, that's bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. I was trying to get like not the like generic Stallone that they have for for the cartoon. It's great. Okay. PTSD. Problematic characters. Ruminating on the Vietnam War. Oily prep montages. Some of these today on Watchbots.
Welcome to Watchbots, the podcast about cartoons and motherfucking Rambo. Yeah!
Woo!
Woo! Woo! Woo! I'm Ben, and I'm joined today, as usual, from the town of Hope, Washington by Shaylin.
Hello.
And from the jungles of Vietnam by Dave.
Oh, let's do this, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. We won't waste a lot of time today, because I think we're amped to talk about today's show. But, you know, it is New Year's Eve when we're posting this, and I just thought it would be good to spend a quick second talking about New Year's resolutions. I'm going to get really, really earnest for a second, so just bear with me and then we'll get back to the funnies. We're still new to this. We want to get better. We hope folks are enjoying it. I think we're enjoying putting it together. I'm going to resolve to stop saying as always and like so fucking much. Keep making this thing a little better and go to the gym more. I don't know. Do you guys want to add anything? Don't feel compelled to, or don't feel compelled to like pour your heart out, but it seemed like a good time to go through this.
Yeah, I want to start eating vegetables again. That was the thing I used to be into. And yeah.
Take it.
I'm perfect, so I don't need to fix or correct anything. I have no resolutions.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right.
And speaking of perfect, there is no mea culpa of the week, and that's because the Yogi Bear episode last week was perfect. And it's definitely not because we're recording ahead and thus haven't had a chance to think of the fuck-ups we missed. Just because it's perfect. Let's underscore that.
I love it. Mea culpa, we're perfect, and then we can't help it.
Yeah. I don't think we can say mea culpa anymore, or we've been shamed for it, but fuck it. We're going to continue.
Let's
Here
go.
we are.
It's our thing.
Let's get her done. So let's jump right into it. This week we're talking about Rambo, The Force of Freedom, and holy shit is this an experience. The episode we watched is called Just Say No. It is about drugs. It was one of the last episodes of Rambo that aired from December 8th, 1986. And I want to get into just the idea behind this show, but before we do that, let's get into this with a little contextual feeling. You want to know what you're seeing, you want contextual feeling, contextual feeling. Makes you feel so smart, helps to understand the art. You want that contextual feeling. Picka picka pow, blap blap, blap blap blap. So the top movies in the land in December 1986. Number one was Star Trek IV. That was the one with the humpback whales.
Yeah.
That's a movie people love. I bet if I watched that movie now, it would suck, right? Like, there's no way that would still be enjoyable.
No, all the even-numbered Star Trek movies are fantastic.
That's a trope, though. I mean, because I haven't seen Star Trek 4 in probably 20 years. I'm going to go back and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
I remember enjoying it as a child, but then again, I remember enjoying Fantastic Max as a child. Look where that got me.
Mm-hmm.
Childhood Dave's tastes are questionable with entertainment.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Very true.
Very true.
Number two at the cinemas was Heartbreak Ridge, which is, good timing with another just real good-looking Clint Eastwood movie out now.
Oh man,
It's like a skeleton.
the mule. I cannot wait to see that when it's streaming on Netflix or wherever it streams, because I won't pay money for that.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the mule, I was reading about it on Wikipedia and about like the guy whose life it's based off of. So when he got arrested by the DEA,
Wait, is it? It's a true story?
yeah, well, it's
Based on a
it's
true
based on a
story.
true story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So the guy, he was arrested, and I think he was in his 80s or 90s. And at his sentencing, instead of jail time, I think he proposed like growing papayas to pay off his debt to society. Which is like, I kind of want to go see the mule just to see if they play that out. My guess is no, but I thought that was like the most interesting way to try to get out of a drug sentence was, let's grow some juicy papayas.
I want to acknowledge my contribution to the drug the drug community, and I want a giant mea culpa. Let me grow papayas. What did the judge say to that?
I think it was turned down, but I also don't.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, and like,
wow.
I'm not going to take responsibility if this is right or wrong. Like, I think like he didn't go to jail because he was older than dirt. So
Yeah.
Anyway, Heartbreak Ridge. Number 3 was Crocodile Dundee, and Crocodile Dundee is 100% a movie that would still hold up today. And I meant to check on this. Was there a Crocodile Dundee cartoon? I feel like odds are better than not.
I feel like there was, but I might just be envisioning it as a cartoon. I don't know why I would do that if it didn't exist, though.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say yes or no 100%, but I'm pretty sure there was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what holds up especially from that movie, and that's Linda Kozlowski, Hachi Machi.
Ooh, hamana.
Baby, that high-waisted swimsuit. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. So for music, the number 1 song in the U.S. was The Next Time I Fall by Peter Cetera, which I can't even remember how that goes.
Nope.
But it's a Cetera, so it's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to like an et cetera joke. It's not coming though.
Well, I think that was the name of his first album, was just Et Cetera.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was not. That was a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm going to move on. We've stepped on this enough. Number 2, You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi. Number 3, Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis. So some cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
We're going to skip TV again this week because Bill Cosby. But the top toys in the land, Christmas of '86, were 1, Teddy Ruxpin. Did we talk about Teddy Ruxpin before?
No.
Teddy Ruxpin was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love Teddy Ruxpin.
Our family, my sister specifically, got a broken Teddy Ruxpin. And then we got like a messed up tape, so it sounded like Teddy Ruxpin was just cussing us out.
Wait, did you say specifically or purposefully?
Specifically.
Okay. I thought you got a broken Teddy Ruxpin on purpose. Like, oh, sorry.
No.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah, so when my parents had, my sister really actually wanted an Easy Bake Oven that year for Christmas. And after they returned the second Teddy Ruxpin, my dad finally was like, you know what? We're just going to get her the Easy Bake Oven because this Teddy Ruxpin thing is terrifying.
Really? I loved it.
It was super cool when it worked, but the broken ones were like really gnarly and nightmare-y, like deep, scary voices and stuff.
Okay. I can see that.
I can't remember if I had Teddy Ruxpin, but I know I had like the Disney equivalents. So like I had a Mickey and a Goofy, and somehow like they survived through the years, and my mom brought them up to the house probably like a year ago. And I opened up the bag that they were in, and they looked like they had been, I don't know, let's say like they'd been blapped a few times. So I can't recall if we kept them or not, but
I can't believe #blap is trending worldwide now. It's crazy.
it's true. We've gone viral,
Yeah.
you know, and hello to our 5,000 million new listeners. All thanks to the Daily Blap. Maybe we should just change the name of the show to the Daily Blap.
Oh man, that's perfect. Yeah.
Or the spin-off podcast will be the Daily Blap.
Or one of our we can have a Daily Blap segment or something because the show is not long enough.
It's the segment in which we discuss the sexiness of each individual cartoon character for each episode.
Ooh.
Could be.
The
This
Daily
is good.
Blap.
I think the Daily Blap could just be like a 3-second, blap.
Oh. Oh.
Ben, what's that noise?
You're going to have to find some volunteers. Oh.
I wish you both could have seen me like pondering, like, what would make a good blap noise there? I got there though. I got there in the end.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Rambo. Before we could talk about the episode we watched for today, I think we need to spend a couple of minutes talking about like Rambo and where this show came from. So First Blood came out in 1982, right? It's a relatively compact movie about a veteran dealing with PTSD, terrorizing a small Washington town. He's a clearly damaged man. He's forced to kill one cop. First Blood has some of the craziest end credits music I've ever heard in my life. I'll plug it onto the end of this, but, you know, it's a pretty modest movie, right? Like, nothing too crazy about it.
I remember, so I watched the sequel first when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the first one thinking it was going to be much like the sequel, like over the top, zany action. But it's kind of, I mean, it gets violent, but like it's kind of contemplative and like Stallone is really like toned down, like both physically and as a, like, you know, his acting too. Like, yeah, it's actually really good. I like it.
Yeah, and we could spend a lot of time talking about the movies too, but just to set the scene a little. So that came out in 82, right? Rambo 2 came out in 1985, and it has so little to do with the first one other than the characters of Rambo and Colonel Troutman. Like, fucking Stallone, he's all like hairspray and steroids, and like there's none of those interesting like PTSD elements or anything. He's just a murdering machine. I watched both these movies last night, and Shaylin watched most of Rambo 2 as well. And Rambo just goes apeshit in that movie. He kills 74 people. So like it's a really jarring thing, like from First Blood to Rambo 2. But I don't know if it's as jarring as Rambo 2 to this cartoon.
It's a leap.
It's a leap for sure. So Rambo 3 came out in, I think, 1988. So I don't know that I've seen Rambo 3 in a long time. I remember reading like the Mad magazine right up of it when I was a kid. So I don't know why I said that, but anyway.
I think if you revisited it today, it'd be a little problematic.
Rambo? No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's that really uncomfortable throwaway line in Rambo 2 where they talk about he's got quite a combination of genetics, and it's like really uncomfortable in like today's context. I don't
remember that line.
Yeah, it was. I just stopped and went, did he really just say that?
Well, that's sort of what happened. What you did is you looked over at me and you went, did they go there? And then like we just looked at each other slack-jawed for 6 minutes, and that's how we digest movies. So what was I talking about?
I have no idea.
Rambo. So the cartoon. So Rambo 2 came out in 1985. Rambo, The Force of Freedom was on the air in 1986 and was the brainchild of the Ruby Spears Company, which you might remember from like this kind of credits noise. These folks were the company behind the Chuck Norris cartoon. Chuck Norris is Karate Commandos, which Chuck Norris created and voiced, so we'll have to watch that. They also did Rubik the Amazing Cube and a whole bunch of other like weird licensed shit, right? So
I think it's Cubic Rube, actually. No, that's a Fantastic Max reference. Sorry, I cut you off.
Get out.
We're done with Fantastic Max. We're never revisiting it. It's over.
Okay.
We've moved on. We've moved on.
Fine.
But you can reference it. It's okay.
I will.
Okay. So that they made like a weird licensed show is not the weird thing, but it's just like that anybody would make a Rambo show, right? Like a Rambo show marketing to kids that they would make like kid friendly by removing all of the PTSD stuff. But they would also leave in the characters wielding real guns and shooting like real bullets. Like it's
and driving a tank through a residential neighborhood.
It's nuts.
Firing rocket launcher.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. Like we'll get to the specifics, but just like the concept of this is so crazy.
You joked about like staring at each other like slack-jawed and like just like speechless. That was me watching this episode. I was just like the whole time just like, oh man, just like unable to like process what the fuck was going on. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Yeah. And you know, without Rambo, like this show could have existed because it's kind of like the A-Team, but with Rambo, like it's something you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, in concept, this is kind of like the A-Team or like a really violent Charlie's Angels or something. So Colonel Troutman is here. He is like the Charlie of the group. And the Force of Freedom also has TD, who's a former football player, Kat, who's a master of disguise. And boy, we'll talk about that in a little bit. She is apparently based off of Ko Bao from Rambo 2, who was murdered.
Oh.
Yeah. But that was on Wikipedia, and they may have written that because they're both Asian. Like, they're not really alike in any particular way.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I'm not going to say Wikipedia has ever been wrong, but we also have Turbo, who's the team's wheelman. They also have people who, they come in and out, but that's the core group. Like, they have somebody who's named Chief, and you could take a wild guess what his ethnicity is and what he's all about. But the Force of Freedom is not without their antagonists, and that is the group Savage. And Savage stands for Specialist Administrators of Vengeance, Anarchy, and Global Extortion. Their leader is General Warhawk. His second in command is Colonel Havoc. And from there, we have a whole host of awful, awful stereotypes. I watched 3 episodes of this show, and I think of everything we've watched for Watchbots so far, this is my favorite thing that we've watched. There's an episode of this show where I swear to God, Colonel Troutman's British friend, his world-renowned horse named Freedom Dancer is stolen, right?
What's the horse's name?
Freedom Dancer. And Colonel Troutman approaches Rambo to take an off-the-books mission to get Freedom Dancer back, and the horse was stolen by Savage on behalf of a Middle Eastern horse owner, and I believe that they're going to trade the horse for jet fighters. Like that is what this show is. It is all just the wackiest shit imaginable. I had such a blast with this.
Oh man, that might have been the plot to Rambo 3, actually. I'm serious, I don't know.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
So let's get into the episode proper, and I'll say I was so tempted to just clip the entire 22 minutes and just play it in the middle of this episode because like it's so worth checking out. I didn't do it, but there's a lot of clips in this, so bear with us. The show opens with a montage of Rambo getting ready to kick ass. If you've ever seen the Rambo 2 trailer with like Stallone being all oily and putting his knife in its sheath and lacing up his boots, that's what we get here. And we also get to see Rambo skiing, and this is all to music that was in Rambo 2, so it's all just a little tonally odd. Let's take a listen.
Rambo. Everywhere, the savage forces of General Warhawk threaten the peace-loving people of the world. There's only one man to call. Get me Rambo. From the canyons of skyscrapers to the canyons of remote mountain peaks, Liberty's champion is unstoppable. Rambo, helped by the mechanical genius known as Turbo, and the master of disguises named Cat, the honor-bound protector of the innocent. Rambo, the Force of Freedom.
Dude, like, Jesus. Like, that opening note and then the music, like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is a children's show.
Oh,
it's
man.
Freedom's champion.
I don't care. That music, like the swelling violins or whatever, like, holy shit, I'm like, I just bought into the episode immediately. I was like, I am all for this. That score from Rambo is classic.
It's good stuff. And like,
yeah.
We'll put some clips of what you see in the intro on up on Twitter and up on Jiffy, but like you see like a family being held at gunpoint and explosions and Rambo skiing. It's awesome. And you also get to see the opening montage where Rambo's getting ready to kick ass. You see that at the end of the episode, right? Like pretty much verbatim. You guys remember that towards the end?
Oh, yeah.
So if you watch more Rambo, that same montage happens in every single episode right before he gets ready to just kick some real serious savage ass. And
Good. It should. That's an awesome montage to have in an action movie.
Well, it's a cartoon, but
yeah.
The conclusion I take from this is that Rambo has OCD, which I think is the only callback to any of his potential mental issues. But
yeah, that's how he copes. That's how his mind is coping with the PTSD.
He also really hates wearing a shirt. He takes a lot of care to tie those boots up with the shoelaces, but the shirt, nay.
And we are all winners for it.
It's true.
Does he really hate wearing a shirt? Because when we're introduced to Rambo in this episode, he's driving around San Francisco. I assume it's San Francisco. It looks like San Francisco.
It looks like,
yeah, we'll say San Francisco. He's driving around on a huge tank with a gun. He is wearing he's wearing tight pants, a white sleeveless sweatshirt, a bandana, and the necklace from Rambo 2 that he gets from Kobau. Now, he looks and sounds a little bit like Sylvester Stallone, but not really.
Not really.
Guys, he has the deadest eyes I've ever seen in my life. It's so crazy.
Again, PTSD.
So it's not just him, though. Like, the other characters also have dead eyes. And it was something that, like, initially I was like, oh, this is, like, weirdly animated in this scene. And then I was like, no, they're all just terrifying.
Yeah.
They're all lifeless, but they're all also, it's like, I felt like I was watching He-Man again. Like, they're all jacked. Even the children are jacked. Like, everyone's just perfectly sculpted. It's so weird.
What's funny about the children too is that instead of trying to like animate like a younger version of the adults, they just made a smaller version of the exact same like scale.
Yeah, they just
shrank them.
They just crunch them down.
Yeah. We have a lot to get to here, but I don't want to let it pass by that Dave referred to the children as perfectly sculpted. That's
No, I said all characters.
I think
you said including the children.
Yeah.
I think the audio will prove me right on this one.
Okay.
That's going to be a weird tweet later in the week.
I stand by it. They're super jacked. I'm leaning into it now.
True enough. So he's in this big ass truck and like a seagull swoops in and is flying next to him. And, like, it's not symbolic or anything. It's just weird. So he pulls into a residential neighborhood, and we'll post the GIF because I think this is the funniest thing I maybe have seen all week. He pulls into the residential neighborhood and there's kids running around, but it looks like the kids are running away from Rambo's big ass truck. And like, I couldn't blame them if they were. He's going into town to meet his friend Chopper at their house, and Chopper sounds a little bit off.
Give the guy a chance to breathe, Josh.
Ah, geez, guys, it's me, Chopper. It's just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like,
Rambo, I'm out again. Yeah, I need some money, Rambo. Oh.
Yeah, and like this whole family is weird. And let's hear more about Chopper before we dig into this.
Josh, I wish Maggie could have been here to see you.
She had to go stay with Aunt Sally so she could have a baby.
That's our sissy. Sees all and tells all.
Where's Johnny?
I don't know. Should be home by now.
He doesn't like us anymore.
So we talk a lot about absentee parents on this show, and I don't know if Chopper is that, but he's like an abuser, right? Like 100% an abuser.
Huh.
I didn't put that together.
Like
no.
So Maggie, we can assume, is the mom, and she's gone off to have a baby. This is like the 80s.
No.
This isn't 1875.
Because the aunt is having a baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's another character's name. She went to go help someone else have a baby.
Sissy, is that it?
No, Sissy's the daughter.
Oh.
It's Aunt Sally.
Yeah, I thought that she went to Aunt Sally's to have the baby at Aunt Sally's.
No, I think Aunt Sally is having the baby.
So I think this is a good point to ask, Ben. You watched a couple other episodes. You did some research. I didn't do any of that. Does Chopper ever come back again?
So this is one of the last episodes of the run. As far as I can tell, I don't think so.
So the problem is, like, you get Chopper and his family, and they're talking about all these characters that, like, maybe if he and his family were in like previous episodes, this would make sense. But like, why the fuck are we listening to this? This is it's so inane and like and stupid and pointless.
I'll tell you something. You millennials, you're just so goddamn impatient. This is world building. We're world building here. Okay, so maybe Chopper isn't abusive, but at best, like, he's a fucking idiot, as we'll get to. But the real news here is Johnny. And Johnny is Chopper's son, and he's Rambo's godson. And we're introduced to Johnny as he's being chased by Kit from Knight Rider. So Kit's being manned by 3 sexy teens, and they run Johnny and his bike off the road. And nobody is, like, too terribly alarmed by this, but Rambo, and what becomes a real character trait, just starts like barking at Johnny. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Johnny, what's going on?
Those clowns, anything for a laugh.
Look at you. I came here to see my chunky little squirt of a godson, and I find a tall, skinny grown-up.
Aw, he ain't grown up.
He isn't grown up.
Ain't that what I said?
Come on, are we gonna stand outside all day?
How's the guitar playing coming?
No, I'm not into that anymore.
On account of he lost his guitar.
Everything I do is everybody's business.
Like, you know, I remember having that conversation with my godfather. It's interesting. It's an interesting family dynamic, but fuck it. Let's go eat some dinner, where Rambo immediately regales the Choppers with just some good dinner talk.
So, we used our parafoils, took over the plane, and rounded them all up.
And what are they doing now?
About 20 years to life.
Like, that's not funny.
No.
It's a terrible joke.
And like the kids get it too, and they're just lapping it up. Like,
Yeah. It's just,
oh, man.
It's crazy. But so Rambo and the Choppers alienate Johnny, and Johnny, because he's going through puberty, so emotions are running high. He runs outside, and Knight Rider comes to kill him with a double barrel shotgun. And this is all being scored with like that classic Rambo music. So it's just, it's
I
crazy.
should say, like, this is not like one of your jokes, like where like you just take a completely innocent cartoon and make it extremely violent. Like,
No.
the show, the car comes back and starts shooting at the kids with a shotgun.
I'm being dead serious. Like,
exactly.
It's bizarre. And like, this is the point, Dave, where you asked if these characters came up before. I had that same thought, and I went back and researched this. I really don't think that they had shown up before. If I'm wrong, and there's more emotional weight to this, like, I apologize in advance, but like, it just comes off as this weird, bizarre scene. So Johnny's getting shot at, and Rambo does something really natural, right? He somersaults through the lawn, and he goes to his truck, and he picks up a fucking rocket launcher. Like, holy shit. Picture all of this in the Rambo canon. Like, so he got
and it's like in the middle of like this idyllic, like Stepford-esque neighborhood too. So like, it's just like his massive tank parked out there. There's like shotgun blasts raining through, and he just
It's
he
so
just
good.
pulled out so it's already intense. Like, holy shit. They're using an actual, G.I. Joe used like lasers or whatever. Like, they're using actual ammo and they're shooting at children. This couldn't get any worse. Oh my God, he has a bazooka.
That he's firing in a residential neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, and like, I found myself thinking about John Rambo's life. Like, so he had the trouble in Washington with Brian Dennehy, and then he saved all the POWs in Nam, and now like he's just running around
Chasing kids with a gun.
Yeah, he's just chasing kids with a gun. Like, it's really fascinating stuff. So Rambo chases Knight Rider down. He stands up in a moving car, fires the rocket launcher, and the car skids off the road. Did I miss anything with that? Does that cover that part of it?
So far, so good.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. All this happens in about 4 seconds, too, so I just don't want to miss anything with this. One of the drug dealers can't swim, and Rambo doesn't care for that.
Stop struggling and relax, or you'll drown both of us.
I don't know why, like, that struck me as so funny. Like,
He's like, so like he jumps in and he's a hero, right? And he's gonna like save the bad guy's life, and then he just fucking lays into him for not knowing how to swim.
So
it had me cracking up.
I actually remember there being like a swimming safety PSA. Do you guys remember this? It was like a short thing, and it's like, if you're swimming on the beach and you see someone drowning, don't run out to help them, because if they panic, they can drown you too. Like, get a trained professional to help. Do you remember this?
The movie Jaws?
It was like a 30-second PSA on like Saturday morning cartoons when they talked about like how to be safe. It was similar to like the stop, drop, and roll like ad.
Are you saying that there's a lot of PSAs and messages in this episode, Jalen? Because I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all.
I'm just saying keep your eyes peeled. But
Okay.
I just like the idea of like Rambo struggling with this kid. Like Rambo is fucking jacked to the gills. Like he's going to drown with this scrawny little shit.
He killed 78 people on like a day.
This kid's not scrawny. He's also perfectly sculpted. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. He is an Adonis. But here we get Rambo interrogating a child. And holy shit, does Rambo love interrogating children.
There go your buddies. Pretty good friends, huh? They left you to drown.
I'll get him.
No, I'll get them. And you're gonna help. Start talking or I'm gonna throw you back into the water and feed you to the fish.
Hey, what do you want from me? I don't know nothing.
You know enough to go around shooting at people. You gotta have a reason. Tell me.
I know enough to go around shooting at people.
It's never really made clear why they're shooting at Johnny. I assume that Johnny owes them money, but I found myself thinking, how old is this drug dealer supposed to be? Like, I think based off what we see later, he's high school age, which makes Rambo like brutalizing him even weirder. I don't know.
You say weirder. I say funnier. Yeah.
Fair enough.
He also, like, again, he's the hero. He's diving in to save the guy. He yells at him to stop struggling. He pulls him out of the water. He's saying, oh, your friend, you know, again, he's acting like a hero again. Like, your friends aren't going to help you. I'll help you. And then he threatens him again to...
I will throw you back in the water.
I'm going to throw you back in the fucking water. It's so weird. I don't think he swore, so that's inaccurate.
Yeah, fuck you, pal. Was that a good Stallone?
No, that was about as good as mine.
That's the Fonz.
No.
Hey,
Yeah.
sit on it. Hey. Listen, I'm not
Watch
a voice guy. So Rambo then goes to visit Johnny at Chopper's house. Like, as far as I can tell, he didn't loop in the police at any point. He doesn't appear to have talked to Chopper. He just goes to Johnny. And maybe it's a family thing, but Johnny also sounds a little bit off. Or maybe it's the drugs. Let's listen to a couple of clips here.
Hi, Johnny.
Yo,
Okay if we talk?
I'm pretty tired. Cracking the books lately.
Sorry, but we need to talk.
Tomorrow, huh?
Must say you're pretty cool for a kid who's just been shot at.
Oh, them. They're just goofing off.
He just sounds weird, but it continues.
Lectures, always lectures.
Like,
Is he,
I can't figure this guy's voice out.
I think he was supposed to be high in that scene, right?
Yeah. And also, in his giant bedroom. Did you guys notice how big that room is?
Yes. Yeah, it's
My
huge.
God, it is so big.
But anyway, yeah, no, I think he's supposed to be high.
Okay, I would believe that. Yeah. So we find out that the drug dealer's name is Rocks. Like, his name is fucking Rocks. But that's not important. What is important, though, is that
Johnny Grass.
it's Jimmy Heroin. Yeah, we'll go with Johnny Grass. Jimmy Heroin isn't going to work. But you know what you don't do? You don't talk fucking lip to John Rambo.
Brave? You think using dope is brave? You're too chicken to cope with life without that poison.
No, don't say that.
Johnny.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Like, there's so much going on in that clip. Like, there's that weird music cue. There's Rambo berating a child, Johnny overdosing, and then a moronic Chopper coming in and not knowing what's going on.
He is overdosing in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Was this a Saturday morning cartoon?
For children.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is so fantastic. Like, every minute I am just more on board with this show.
Yeah. So from here, we go to the hospital with Rambo and the Choppers, and we get a few educational elements. Chopper is explaining to Rambo the diagnosis. He's also lamenting his ineptitude as a father. Again, no mother whatsoever, not important, but let's listen to a couple of things from Chopper here.
Some kind of cocaine called crack. Kids are dropping like flies from it.
I've heard of it.
That's right. John Rambo has heard of that crack.
It's fantastic, but
can we pause here?
Sure.
Like, I think What's really disturbing to me throughout all of this is not like Johnny's on crack and ODing, or, Chopper is like absent or whatever. It's like Rambo's familiarity with the family.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like barging into Johnny's room and like lecturing him, and then he's like hugging him and everything. I think he brings him to the hospital. Like, who the fuck is John Rambo to this family? It is so weird.
He's the godfather.
Maybe okay, so I'm gonna have a theory, right?
Okay.
Do you think that Chopper is one of the POWs from Rambo 2?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's Rambo canon now. That's Rambonin.
Rambonin.
Maybe not that one.
Hashtag Rambone.
Hashtag Ramblap.
Ramblap.
So, just for a second, Dave, you said that his familiarity with the family is the weird thing. I think the weird thing that all of these grown-ass adults don't know what crack is. Like, this was the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't
Wasn't
see
crack-
how they could...
Wasn't some kind of cocaine called crack fairly new back then?
Also,
I don't know.
Chopper is like, he has problems. Like, he's not well. So I don't know that you can say that he doesn't know what crack is as some sort of indictment on America.
No, but like Rambo says, yeah, I've heard of that. But like, he's supposed to be like a defender of freedom in the United States. He's never heard of like crack cocaine before? Is that what you're telling me?
And for the listeners, when he says, yeah, I've heard of that, he strokes his chin and a thought bubble of crack cocaine just appears over his head.
Well, the only drug Rambo is interested in is anabolic steroids.
It's true.
So,
He's very shiny too.
That's what happens. Now, I want to get back to like the familiarity and the creepiness, but I don't want to overshadow the most important learning point here. And for us as hosts and for the listeners, this is the important thing to take away. And that's the 3 stages of drug addiction.
Loss of weight, personality change.
Yeah, and the so-called robberies. Why didn't I pay attention?
So those are the 3 signs of drug addiction: loss of weight, personality change, and robberies. So if you see those 3 things together, you might have a drug addict on your hands. Rambo decides to go in and see Johnny, and like he literally goes into the hospital room and closes the door on his biological father, which is sort of weird.
Yep.
And then it gets even creepier.
Excuse me, Choppa.
it's creepy. Let's listen to what he says to Johnny.
Johnny, I want to pick you up like when you were little and tell you it's okay, but I can't.
And like he's like rubbing his head and holding his hand and stuff. Like,
boy.
It is yikes.
But I can't because your father took that restraining order out on me.
Like, I know it's trying to be wholesome, but like there's just not a way to play John Rambo in this way. Like, it just we'll put clips up online. It's interesting.
Well, it goes back to like you're tonally odd. Like, it's like supposed to be like a family friendly cartoon, and then you have this incredibly violent, like blunt character. It's really
so. The spin-off reality show from this is Rambo's Bakery, where he just teaches you how to make cupcakes. That's
I see. Okay.
I'm really into that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. I like that. You know who else might like that is Johnny's best friend, Roger.
Yes, Roger.
Who we will also know likes cupcakes. So Roger, his sweater has an R. Now, I think later on it's because of the high school we go to, but I liked that he had an R either for Roger or for Rambo. Wouldn't you know it, Rambo immediately berates this child.
I didn't want to rat on him. If I told you, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Nobody likes to blow the whistle on a friend, but sometimes you gotta do it for their own good.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he can't go 5 seconds without screaming at a child. So he immediately recruits Roger into his crusade. Now, we don't see Colonel Troutman in this episode. And as Colonel Troutman is sort of the spiritual leader of the group, I don't know that this is an official Force of Freedom mission, but it's at this point that we meet the rest of the team and Rambo's brilliant plan unfolds. We go to the high school, and let's break this down into detail because there is a lot going on. We first see TD. Now, TD is an adult. I believe he's an Army Ranger. I could be wrong in the backstory, but he used to be a football player. As far as I can tell, he's playing football with high school children. And one of the football players makes a PCP reference that TD just completely ignores. There's a little more to TD's intro. Let's just listen to it and we can talk through it some more.
Whoa, that was some kick, TD. You booted that pigskin hiring a guy on PCP.
You pay the price with hard work and practice, and you can do it too.
Oh, yeah, sure, I'll bet. What's your real secret, TD? You must be taking something to keep you on the edge.
No way. I take care of my body. I don't put any foreign substances in it.
Oh, come on. All good athletes are on something.
Not the ones who want to go on living.
Hey, wake up, man. Drugs are the way of the 80s.
This is the densest 10 seconds of audio. Like, there's PCP references, drug references.
Are they talking about drugs?
Yes, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
It's subtle, but yes. And like, so I'm not wrong, right? Like, TD is a man and he's playing football with children.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay. And like, that's the play. Like, TD's not pretending to be a high schooler.
I don't think so. I think he shows up in his football gear and it just says, "Hey, young boys, you want to play some football with me?"
Young boys, that's disgusting. Gross.
I'm just going with what the episode showed us.
Hey, you perfectly sculpted children. Do you want to play football with me?
It was creepy and weird, and I didn't approve it, and I don't like it.
Are these the local blap stars? We're going to run that one right into the ground.
Oh, I can't wait.
Going to.
So having never watched a Rambo episode or, and having, I don't think is TD in the intro? I don't think so.
I don't think he is, but he's a pretty prominent character.
So I had no idea what the hell was going on here. Like, all the people look like adults, like even the children. So like, I was like, why are they at a 49ers game? This is weird. And then I couldn't tell if like TD was an adult or like a poorly animated child.
Mm-hmm.
I was just completely lost. And then the drug references, just I was done by then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So TD, this is amazing. I will post the clip of this. TD then tries to kick a field goal and the kids cheer. But if you look at the clip, he misses the field goal. Like, it goes under the goalpost. So like, he's not even a particularly good football player.
He's a quarterback. He's not a kicker. Like, I don't know why they have him kicking field goals.
He's actually not a quarterback. And the reason I know this, there's a football episode of Rambo as well, where TD and Rambo are put on, they're put onto like the Army Rangers All-Star team. Mm-hmm. And TD, I believe, is a running back and Rambo is the backup quarterback. But so I don't want to spoil the whole thing.
Put me a coach. I'm ready to play.
They save like the rival scientist. And then, yes, Rambo does get put into the game and nice. he wins the game. So that one's worth checking out too. So anyway, so TD is pretending to play football. Keep this in mind. We'll go back to this. Then we see Roger, who's with Kat, who is our master of disguise. And what is her disguise? She's dressed up like a cheerleader. And Kat asks about the drug dealer, and Roger tells us,
"I got spies everywhere."
And like, I think that's a joke, but there's not like humor in Rambo, the cartoon, as far as I can tell. So maybe he does have spies everywhere. It's tough to tell.
Yeah. So maybe Rambo was right for berating Roger. Like, he just knew Roger was lying, and he's got this network of spies and drug dealers everywhere.
Could be. Yeah. That's certainly plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Roger does point out the drug dealer who's sitting in the stands, and the drug dealer's name is Harvey. Really, really tough name. He looks like Clark Kent, like he's in like a blazer, and he's a high school student, and he's got some cool ass lingo.
"Hey, I'm sorry, I'm without, but don't despair. I'm expecting a fresh supply any minute."
Kat and Roger are in the bleachers, and they watch Harvey go down into a very conspicuous black limo, and then they alert Rambo, who's in a similarly conspicuous big-ass white helicopter. Then they radio TD, who abandons the game, like pretty hilariously. Like, he's running with the football, takes an exit stage right, and like the rest of the football team like collapses like just fucking idiots.
He keeps the ball too, right? Like, he runs out of bounds with it.
Yeah, like
he Forrest Gumps it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. He Forrest Gumps it. And then they also radio Turbo, who's running a food truck from a completely unrelated location. So like, I ask you both, what the fuck was this plan? Like, they all have these elaborate disguises and plans to pretend they're around the football game, when really, they could have just asked Roger to point out the drug dealer that he knew and then followed him. TD being the football guy, Kat being the cheerleader, Turbo being outside the stadium in case the drug dealers got hungry. Like it just all, it amounted to nothing. Like it was completely pointless.
Do you think it may be a little excessive? Like they're just trying to catch a high school drug dealer and they have a massive fucking helicopter just flying overhead.
Except I think that it's just playing on their PTSD. Like all of them are suffering from it.
Oh, that could be. Okay.
So instead of just being like reasonable and calling the police and saying, hey, there's a kid at the high school with Clark Kent glasses dealing drugs, they stage like a helicopter and a bunch of fake identities because they don't realize they're not in a war zone anymore.
Nothing is over.
They have like just their jurisdiction is everything too.
Well, that's the Freedom Force.
That's true. It's the force of freedom. So like, this plan didn't bother me when I was watching it, but then when I was going back through my notes, I was like, wait a minute. they set up like this mousetrap and like none of it meant anything. It's just like hugely elaborate. So the drug dealing is of course being facilitated by Savage, and specifically we meet Colonel Havoc here
with his hook.
With his hook and his eye patch. He's an intimidating sort. So Rambo follows them in his helicopter. He lands the helicopter, and of course he has his trusty bow and arrow and his knife, and he uses his combat knife to like slice open a wooden door, which is kind of an interesting maneuver. I don't know that I've seen that one before. The building he's in is like a weird nightmare. The only distinguishing feature is that it has this big spiral staircase that's supported by a single beam.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's like a factory. And I was like, what is this, the spiral staircase factory? Like, and there's doors in the background. So like they show like, I don't know, 3 or 4 floors of the building. And there's doors everywhere, but there's like no floor next to the door. So it's just like walls of doors. Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird. And so he's being watched by Savage, and specifically by like a dude who's wearing like a sweater, and you'd probably guess just based on the show that he's vaguely Russian, but no, he's a robot. His chest opens up and he just starts firing bullets at Rambo. And I was taken aback because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting a robot man to just be shooting guns at Rambo, but it shows what I know.
I just accepted it. I mean, 10 seconds ago, Rambo's flying a massive helicopter over a high school football field. Like, I was not surprised to see a guy with a machine gun come out of his chest.
Yeah. You're more sensitive to Rambo than I am, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
So all the gunfire crumbles the stairs, and as Rambo's falling to his death, he has time to tie a rope to an arrow and shoot it into the ceiling. And it takes like a minute and a half. Again, this is all being scored by like the Rambo music, so it's just so wild. So the Savage guys, they're escaping to the roof where they have a Savage-themed helipad, which is pretty subtle. And what does Colonel Havoc say about Harvey? But
we put him and no one will find him.
You'll be sorry he led Rambo to us.
But then TD finds Harvey within like 3 seconds. So I felt myself wondering, like, so where did they put him? Like, did they just put him in a corner and put like a lampshade on his head? What was their grand plan for like where they put him that they would never find him? I'm dying to know.
We hit him wide. He's hiding in wide open space. They'll never find him.
Yeah, like they put a tarp on him or something. It's good stuff. Savage pins Rambo down on the roof, but who shows up? Cat. And Cat is packing some fucking heat.
Duck, you suckers!
This is a children's cartoon. She pulls out fucking 9s and she's just blasting at this helicopter with real bullets. It's fantastic.
I did not hear "Duck You Suckers." Like, I didn't hear that at all. This clip is new to me. That is fantastic. Oh my God. Whew. Can you play it again?
I certainly can.
Duck, you suckers!
Delightful. Oh my God. Thank you for obliging.
It's truly my pleasure. So Savage flies away in their helicopter, and Rambo and the Force of Freedom are on the roof with Harvey, and he's the lowest level drug dealer imaginable, but like in classic movie fashion, he has all the information you could ever need, and I think it's worth us hearing what he has to say.
I heard them talking after they locked me up. There's gonna be a big shipment of cocaine. 2 ships, the biggest haul ever made.
Where?
I don't know. Up the coast in some deserted bay somewhere. General somebody's bringing it. Warhawk. Yeah, that's it. This shipment will make him the coke king of the world.
Not while I'm still breathing. Did they say when the stuff's coming in?
Tomorrow night, midnight.
That's one shipment that'll never reach a single kid.
He couldn't have known more unless it was like the wood grain on the boat deck. Like, it's just an obscene amount of information.
Also, yet another instance of Rambo interrogating a child.
Yeah. And like relishing it.
Yeah. I thought Harvey was an adult, like just kind of hanging around high school, like dealing drugs and being like a creepy drug dealer. No, he's a kid. And that this scene was, oh boy, man. Delightful.
Stellar animation, once again. Totally accurate representation of the kind of character he is. And I love that he says, it's the biggest shipment ever.
Yeah, like what does that mean? Like, how do they know that? It's troubling stuff. But finally, we get back to Rambo getting ready. So this is where you see him oiling up and booting up and all that. And this is where you get classic Rambo. You know shit is about to hit the fan for Savage. And the next thing we see is Rambo and Turbo are on a boat. And immediately the jurisdiction question comes up, but Rambo's got that taken care of.
Is there anything out there? Not so far. Don't see any sign of the Coast Guard either.
I was trying to figure out if I should take that as the Coast Guard hadn't arrived yet, or fuck it, we've got it. I think the latter.
Oh, I thought Rambo reached out to the Coast Guard and they were like, you're an insane person. We're not doing this. And they just didn't show up.
That was sort of my interpretation.
Could be.
I called 1-800-Coast Guard. Why didn't they come?
For me, the thing that stuck out about this wasn't the Coast Guard or anybody's mental state. It was that Rambo has no nipples. So like he's shirtless, he's wearing the pants and the bandana that you know, but he has no nipples. He has defined abs, defined muscles, but not a nipple to be found. Like, how much trouble could that possibly have been to animate in?
Oh my god.
Obviously much too much.
Yeah, I guess so. But we also get a chance to see the banter, the friendship that Rambo and Turbo have. It's very, very natural.
I wonder how that stuff is when it's mixed with seawater.
And like Rambo just never responds to that. I guess he's just focused because that is at worst, that's like a ground rule double. That's a good joke from Turbo, and Rambo just can't be bothered. So maybe Rambo's just an ass.
For the listeners, again, Rambo is sitting there stroking his chin, pondering, and there's a thought bubble of crack cocaine just hanging above his head.
It helps. The thought bubble definitely helps.
Yeah, it would explain a lot of this episode if they just had that over Rambo's head. Mm-hmm. What's he thinking?
And so finally, we meet the big bad. We meet General Warhawk. And General Warhawk is riding in a boat with Nomad, and Nomad has a very troubling accent. But General Warhawk also doesn't seem very smart.
We will be more than that. This shipment will make us billionaires.
So he's talking about they'll be more than rich because they'll be billionaires, but like a billionaire is still pretty rich. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also points out that like the boat that Rambo's on is a converted PT boat, as if that would be like a reason for it not to be a threat to them. Like he just comes off like a dummy. So I don't know. I guess there's nothing else to say there. But the important thing here is Rambo unveils an enormous gun that was under an orange blanket. And why was it under an orange blanket, I guess, is a question. I think I took it as like the trigger. It was the trigger for Rambo to go completely fucking apeshit insane. And let's hear how he does so.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Warhawk. I'm gonna ram one right down your stack. That one was for Johnny. Raise the cannons! Got that boat! For Josh and for Sissy.
And this one's for Sally Mae and Gippy Joe. Like never can you actually question the PTSD, because this is just like an insane man's ranting.
Also, so the beginning of the episode, he's like just barreling through the quiet streets of San Francisco in his Jeep tank, and now they're just having a battle in San Francisco Bay, just like cruise ships blowing up and stuff. Oh my god, it's so fantastic.
And no sign of the Coast Guard.
No sign of the Coast Guard.
It's truly amazing stuff. General Warhawk and his crew, they turn tail and they run, and that's pretty much it. That one shipment is gone, so I guess the drug epidemic is over. And
the biggest drug shipment in history.
That's true. So maybe that would have had a real effect, but we get back to Rambo the teacher. Rambo the thoughtsman here.
I wish this could be the end of it.
It's the beginning of the end. Because we're going to teach our kids how to say no.
And it's true. We are going to teach our kids to say no. I think that that's important. We get a little epilogue, a little coda, and we're back at the football stadium where Rambo walks out of the tunnel like he's the star of the high school team, and he runs into Johnny, and Johnny may no longer be a drug addict, but he's carrying a little baggage.
Rambo, you came!
Would I miss this?
I wrote a new cheer just for you. Thank you for my life.
Like, can you imagine a scenario where you would ever say that to somebody? Thank you for my life. Like, it sounds bad.
Yeah, no, it's bad and weird. But he wrote a new cheer just for Rambo.
Do you guys want to hear the cheer? I think this is important.
Absolutely, please.
Yeah, it's a positive message.
When they offer us so, what do? Just say no. Just say no. Just say no.
Just say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no.
Just say no.
Do it for all of us. Do it for yourself. Just say no.
We'll post the GIF of this whole thing because you have to see this to believe it. It's like a cult scene. Like everybody is like raising their fist and they're chanting at Rambo. And there's like a full 5 seconds of animation where Johnny is standing next to the cheerleader and she's moving, but he's like perfectly still and looks deranged. Like it is sheer art.
I was really pissed off because they have the word dope and then they have a word right after that should be negative. And instead of saying nope, they go with no. And I was like, you had it, writer. You could have just said nope. And then you could have gone and said, just say no 800 times, instead of 801 times.
I don't know. I mean, nope sounds a little colloquial. And when you're talking about such a big thing as the drug epidemic, you really have to treat it with the proper gravitas.
That's true.
That's Rambo. And I think we'll keep talking about this some, but let's get
glorious.
It's fantastic. Let's get to the ratings. Would you show this one to a kid? Dave, we'll start with you.
Oh God, no. The violence and just the violence alone is I wouldn't show this to any child.
Yeah, that's fair. Shaylin?
Absolutely not, because not only the violence, although including it, but also everything about it is confusing, alarming, and scary.
I lean the same direction, and it's not because of the violence. I mean, that's no good, obviously, but it just raises so many questions. Like, if my kids started asking me about like what the football players are saying to TD, I don't even know how I would answer. So I think avoidance is the best policy. And so I will also say no. Just like the episode, that all fits.
There you go. You know who I would show this to though?
Who's that?
Myself. I'm going to watch all the episodes. Like this is, I'm so excited for this show.
Yeah. And I mean, I say this without a hint of irony. I legitimately enjoyed watching this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. I love it.
It's amazing. And so for the usual other rating, let's do 1 to 5 crack rocks. Shaylin, take us.
I rate this at 4 crack rocks. It is hilarious. It is entertaining. It moved quick. It had me asking a lot of important questions like why and who and what on earth were they thinking, but highly entertaining.
Dave?
I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 crack rocks. It just man, I was thoroughly entertained throughout the whole episode, from the intro, the Rambo music, the insane escalation of violence. I love it. I love it.
And I'm going to give it 7 crack rocks. And the name of the episode may be Just Say No, but I'm telling you, the listener, just say yes. Check this out. This is awesome. It was fantastic. It kicked ass. Now, on to our game. And today we're going to play a little game of Rambo or Rambo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you some plot summaries here. And what you both are going to have to do is guess, is this a real Rambo the Force of Freedom plot or not? Now, you can also get bonus points if you happen to guess the title. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Perfect sense.
Just to be safe, we'll play an example round. So here's one. While in England, General Warhawk sends Savage to steal the world's fastest racehorse, who was owned by Colonel Troutman's friend Winslow. While on a mission to rescue Freedom Dancer, Rambo discovers that General Warhawk has done it on behalf of an Arab horse owner named Al-Rashid in order to remove it from the competition in return for General Warhawk's fighter jets. Now, is this a Rambo or a Rambo?
Rambo being real?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yes, it is a Rambo.
Mm-hmm. Shaylin?
I agree.
And what would you guess for the title?
Warhawk's horse.
Very creative. I would say something about not horsing around.
The title is Freedom Dancer, so you're both thinking like far too intelligently. Okay. So we have 4 of these. If this is a disaster, we'll cut it short, but let's give it a try. So here's our first question. Savage steals a sacred white rhinoceros named Mabuto from the African country of Nambula in order to set up its neighboring country of Ornbasi for stealing their white rhinoceros. General Warhawk uses the approaching war as a diversion to mine platinum in Nambula's sacred burial grounds. Now, can you tell me if that's a Rambo or a Rambo? Whoever wants to go first.
Shaylin, you go first.
I'm going with a Rambo.
And what would you guess for the title?
What is the name of the first country? I would have named it that.
Okay, that's not the title, so you're not getting that. Dave, what's your guess?
I'm gonna go Rambo. No, it is not real.
And what would your title be?
I don't know.
No bonus points.
don't poach. I don't.
Just say don't poach.
Just say poach.
So it is a real Rambo episode. So Shaylin, you get the point for that. And again. Woo! You guys are thinking way too hard on these titles. It's Rambo and the right. Oh God, see, I can't get it right either. Rambo and the White Rhino. Okay.
I thought you took the plot of Black Panther and just sort of rejiggered it to this episode. Like they're going to a country in Africa.
It does sound similar.
What's they're instead of platinum, it's vibranium and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Question 2. Savage steals the Spruce Goose from an air show. Rambo teams up with an old World War II vet named Salty Dog to find it before General Warhawk can sell it to a warlord for radiation weapons to undermine the American spirit. Dave?
Rambo? And the name of the episode is Warhawk Stole the Spruce Moose. Or Spruce Goose, whatever it was.
I was going to say. Okay. Shaylin?
I'm going to go Rambo, and the episode is Rambo and the Goose.
So that's going to be my buddy movie that I write. But in this case, Dave, you are correct. It is not real. I wrote that one. And the title that I gave to it, so I guess there can't be bonus points because this isn't real, was Spruce Goose on the Loose.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, I thought that was good. All right. So it's tied up.
I'm going to give myself a bonus point for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't count towards the official tally, but if it helps,
it does.
We'll see.
Okay. Makes me feel good anyway.
Let's see what happens. Okay. I'm going to...
Are you okay?
What was that?
That was the cat jumping into my microphone box and knocking it over.
Oh, man. Awesome.
Cool. Well,
into the box?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
All right. Let's continue. So question 3. When Rambo and his team stop General Warhawk's plot to steal the Liberty Bell, General Stedring insists to Colonel Troutman that his army be used next time. This problem comes into conflict when General Warhawk and his magician ally Mephisto successfully steal the Washington Monument. Shaylin? Rambo or Rambo?
Rambo?
Which was that?
It's the second one, not real. Okay. But if it were, it would be called National Treasure Part 3.
I'm going to go Rambo. So it is real, and the name of the episode is Let Freedom Ring.
Both titles are better. It is real, Dave.
Yeah.
So it's a Rambo. So you are in tune with this so far, but the title was Mephisto's Magic. So, just like the most literal thing imaginable.
Jesus
Aces.
Christ.
All right, Shaylin, you do have a chance to tie here. So,
All right, I'm ready.
all right, here's our last question. While vacationing in Venice, Rambo and the Force of Freedom discover that General Warhawk, Sergeant Havoc, Gripper, and Mad Dog are forcing the monks at a monastery to use their special ceramic to make nose cones for Savage's missiles. Dave, is that a Rambo or a Rambo?
Rambo. And the name of the episode is Rambo and Some Monks.
All right, Shaylin?
I'm going with Rambo and the missiles.
That was my joke.
So you're both right.
Yeah.
It was Dave's joke, and it was also real. But the episode title is Lagoon of Death.
What?
So,
What?
Lagoon of Death.
Where was there a lagoon in the episode?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Unimportant.
I don't know. It's in there somewhere.
So everything else is super literal, and then this one with like I don't even know how to describe that plot. Like Lagoon of Death.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the takeaway, you got to watch the show. It's amazing. So on to the mailbag, and we do have a letter this week, and it's a long one. And as always, listeners come first, so we're going to read this one. And this is from Kendall. So Kendall writes, "Good day, longtime listener, first-time emailer. Enjoyed your loving tribute to the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. Never saw He-Man or She-Ra because, 1, I was in 5th grade when this aired and had already aged out of cartoons not named the Super Friends, Scooby-Doo, or Bugs Bunny. And more importantly, 2, I don't think the shows were homoerotic enough. At least not homoerotic enough for me." And any thoughts on that, guys, before I move on to the questions here? I think these are fair points.
All right, they're acceptable.
I thought we would just appeal to our generation, but I'm glad we're shooting for much older people. This is nice.
My God. My God.
But I bet he's a silver fox. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get to Kendall's questions. 3 questions about the cartoon. As I'm unfamiliar with the show, I have some questions. Question 1. It seems like there's some god-goddess stuff going on. Eternia meaning heaven, Skeletor the devil, Adam Jesus, He-Man sexy Jesus, She-Ra, sugar boobs from the controversial Lilith part of the Bible. But what about Orko? Is Orko supposed to be a trickster god, but with no skills? It seems like the 80s and 90s had many incompetent tricksters like Slimer or Kevin from Home Alone. Or is Orko supposed to represent the trickster in all of us? And I will open the floor to see what you guys think about that.
I think that Orko is supposed to be some kind of trickster. I don't think he's supposed to represent the trickster in us because I don't believe most people are that incompetent in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a shaman and a trickster and a sexy one at that. So, yeah.
I don't think Kevin from Home Alone is incompetent, though. He takes those criminals down.
That's true. That is a mea culpa from the question here. Kevin was ridiculously competent.
Yeah, I'm taking
He bought
umbrage with
fabric
that.
softener.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got more to get to here, so let's push on. Question 2. I don't remember the character's name. Hordak? Yes, it was Hordak or Hordad, depending on your pronunciation. Anyway, am I crazy or does Hordak's ship look like a marital aid? My question is whether I'm crazy or not. And he says, I have the power. Now, I'll be honest, I don't remember Hordak's ship, but judging from the general aesthetic of He-Man and She-Ra, I think it's safe to say that, yes, it looks like a marital aid and was definitely supposed to be one.
Yeah, I would not be surprised by that at all. Yeah,
I have no argument to the contrary.
In question 3, I think Dave gets stupider every year, which, good question. Agreed. Okay.
I'm just I had it on mute because I didn't want you to hear me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Now, we also got some feedback on All I Watch for Christmas Is You, and I think this is probably the best bit of feedback we're going to get all year. Ree, who had the best All I Watch for Christmas Is You lineup, I guess host Ben with the inclusion of the Star Wars tribute to Life Day, I guess. And with one vote, that would make me the official winner of the competition. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for playing along and you know, making me the overlord and the winner that I rightfully should be.
This is BS. I had Santa Claus.
But you don't have the votes, and without a vote or a path to victory, you can just concede.
Thanks for nothing, everybody.
I didn't know this was. I didn't realize people were voting on this. Did we? Did I not pay attention to like the last part of that episode?
Yeah, Ben definitely asked people to vote.
I asked people to vote in a Prime episode that maybe has not released by the time that we're recording this, but
okay.
But since
really?
I don't know that episode's come out yet. Since
don't give the listeners a peek behind the curtain.
Since we're recording this now, and this is a tangible vote, I think the voting is now closed by the time which this episode releases. So I don't think anything will change between now and then. But if it does, you know, this is just another Watchbots disaster.
I smell another mea culpa.
Your fucking technicalities, man.
Now, before we jump off Kendall's email, and I'm committed to this thing, I would contend that you omitted superior choices. Number 1, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, featuring the River Bottom Nightmare Band. Choice 2, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Bonus points because it not only promotes systemic approved bullying, but also includes the use of black nose. And then he says, wait, those are bad things. And, you know, good and bad is all relative. Shaylin, we'll get your thoughts on that in a second. Number 3, Trading Places. And number 4 for the wild card, Hans Gruber, booby. Hans Gruber was a big omission, and it's sad that we didn't do that. And I would say, Kendall, your team is a powerhouse, but you're not in the competition. So, you know, these are worthy alternatives, but ultimately meaningless. And that is kind of the story of this whole podcast.
Yeah, now who's the stupider one, Kendall? Take that. But I didn't choose Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because because of the blackface. We as a group selected shows without blackface.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so we omitted that for that very reason. Yeah,
the most progressive podcast on these here internets. That's us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So thanks, Kendall, for the feedback. If you want to talk to us on the air through text and email, you can always email us at email@watchbotspod.com. So guys, we've made it to the end of Rambo. It's been a journey. Any last thoughts before we sign off?
I feel very strongly that everyone should watch this episode. I don't see a better way to end the drug epidemic in our country. I think it's truly an educational experience for everyone, and we should all just say no.
What a message. This show, or this episode, reminded me of the Saturday Morning All-Star cartoon, Just Say No to Drugs PSA that they did back in the 90s.
Cartoon Heroes to the Rescue.
Yeah. That's the one. And I think we should watch that at some point in this. I don't think that show had as much shotgun blasts and bazookas, though.
Yeah. This is amazing. You got to watch this show. I'm a little worried that we've hit our peak. Like nothing that we do from here is going to top this, but you know, we'll press on. We'll give it a shot. But Rambo, just awesome stuff. So you can follow us on Twitter at WatchbotsPod or follow me on Twitter at BoganPlays. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, or your platform of choice. For Dave and Shaylin, this is Ben. Thanks for listening to another episode of Watchbots. Until next week, have a pleasant and happy new year, and just know, nothing is over. Bye.
It's a long road when you're on your own, and it hurts when they tear your dreams apart. And